Hey guys, it's me, Nikki New Hope, aka Daddy Issues, aka you can call me Daddy if you want to, I don't mind. And today I'm just going to tell you a short story about what many of us presumed to be an urban legend of sorts. Many of us, meaning many of us, a working girl, a redbook girl. But before I do that, do me a favor, hit the subscription button, the subscribe button, because you're gonna want to hear all of that I've got to say. You're gonna be hooked after this one. You're gonna want to subscribe, okay? You're not gonna want to search it every time. You're gonna want it to be on your homepage, all right? And then hit the notification bell, so that obviously you'll be the first to know. And the only other option besides that is the like button. So there was this urban legend type of text message that all of the girls on Redbook and Backpage, I assume, back in the day, but I think he's still around, but thankfully he's either lost my number or stopped being interested or stopped contacting me, that all of us would get about, it would, or at least many of us, we've through Instagram, Narisa Cupcakes brought this up recently, and that's what reminded me of it. And under her post on Instagram talking about this, there was many providers that I know from the forums and from Redbook that agreed, like, yeah, they remember this. Thankfully, there was none that replied that said that they personally ever met up with this person or knew it to be true, but I've heard otherwise. That I've heard that some people did. So I'll tell you the gist of it. So about every, few months, maybe 2, maybe 3, it would be, you would always, as a provider in this area or in the Bay Area, you would receive this creepy text message from a man that called himself Doc. And this man called himself Doc because he had a specific type of interest. And he explained it in great detail, whether you liked it or not. But he would usually, once you got hip to what Doc was doing, once you were used to receiving the text messages and you no longer, it might have been a shock value thing. This is why I say urban legend. It might have been a shock value thing that he was getting off on, just the text messages, sending them to people that would be shocked by them. It might have actually been a thing. I have no proof of either way. Once you started to become hip to Doc's shit and call him out on it and be like, listen, Doc, I'm not interested in your shit. Leave me alone. I don't want to hear about it. I'm blocking you. Don't text me no more. Then you wouldn't be as interested anymore. But so he really texted the new girls the most frequently. Like when I was brand new, he texted me about every 2 weeks. And he would go into great detail. I'm talking, on iPhone when you write so much that you can't write anymore, like, it's a possibility. If you've never written that much, you've never been either that angry, that psychotic, or that sick. But yes, you can write until you can't, it won't let you anymore, and you have to start a new text message. And those text messages get sent in like one bubble, and then it has an arrow, and you have to click on it to read the entire thing, or to open up the entire message. And then they have to send a second one. So he would send about 2 of those long-ass messages in great detail. And it sounded to me like something straight off of Criminal Minds. He went into great detail about how he was an actual doctor, how he wanted you to meet up with him at some sort of warehouse, tool shed, bunker, fucking cave, goddamn dungeon, I don't know, some enclosed area that just gives me every vibe of every scary movie. It reminds me of Hostel a whole lot, if you've ever seen that movie. He said that he had a full-blown, he said that he was an actual doctor. I don't know what kind of doctor. I don't believe that this man was an actual doctor. If he is, I mean, anything's possible. But, it's super sick to think that he is an actual doctor in real life in the daytime, with regular people, and then doing this fucking sick shit at nighttime. But he wanted you to meet him at essentially a dungeon that was like underground. I don't know whether it was underground his house, whether it was someplace he was renting, what it was. But where he had a full-blown, he said, doctor's like bed and surgical tools, different surgical tools. He mentioned wanting, and there were all, he specifically mentioned them being crude surgical tools. He wanted to do things like inject your chest with things, saline or glucose or something that was supposed to be not able to harm you, something that was supposed to be just like whatever, but it was just the fact that he wanted to poke and prod. He mentioned speculums. He mentioned being shackled to this, it sounds like a fucking horror story, I know. Shackled to this doctor's bed as a precursor to all of this torture that he was talking about, and that's how I describe it, but that's how anybody should describe it. And it wasn't a copy and paste, because every girl got different ones. Like, he took the time to write it out each time, because every recounting that I hear from other girls is different than the ones that I read. And he really made emphasis on the fact that he wanted to wear no gloves. He didn't want it to be sterile. And in these situations, you can only assume that there will be girls in certain unfortunate situations that will ask him, how much will you give me if I let you do this? I mean, it's just a numbers game. It's just odds. It's just the law of probability. Like, with girls, especially in this industry, depending on, how many girls he texts, I assure you, there were girls that asked him, how much will you pay me for this? Intending on going through with it. Just based on the unfortunate situations that any one of us can find ourselves in at any point in time, or, survival sex workers, or girls in situations with management that have quotas, or any number of those situations. And from what I remember, I remember reading, and I'll try to find it for you, and if I do, I'll post it, like on the Wayback Machine, I'll try to find it. I remember either reading or hearing that a couple of girls went through with this, actually went to meet this man at this dungeon thing, and let him do these things to him, and that one got really, really sick from it, like got an infection or something, and one was like traumatized forever. Like, obviously it wouldn't be worth any amount of money to me, and it shouldn't be to anybody, but yeah. And I guess apparently he still writes text messages to this day. Thank God I just don't receive them. But if anybody ever texts you saying some wild shit like this, don't consider it, because everything has its price. No, some things, they don't have their price. They just don't. Some things you just shouldn't entertain no matter what, because this has lived rent-free in my head all of these years, because I just feel like something creepy and fucked up transpired out of it. I just wasn't, like, involved, So anyways, that's your fucked up story time for tonight. So hope you have a good sleep. Comment down below if you ever got a text from Doc, or if you've ever heard about him. I'll see you next time.